These fib targets are already being respected on this bull run. So if Bitcoin was going to play out the same type of run where we would test up to the 2618 for the end of the bull market peak, surprisingly, the target becomes 350,000 US dollars. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Svenson, and today we're going to be discussing why Bitcoin is on the precipice of a major all-time high break and why we may be about to enter the final mania phase. We're going to be taking a look at the price of Bitcoin, also looking at some long-term cycle comparisons, and looking at the total crypto market cap and looking at some targets. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and also subscribe to this channel if you're new. Also, before we get started, I just want to mention that I posted this Bitcoin meme video, like a little Bitcoin movie called El Salvador Saves Bitcoin on the r/Bitcoin Reddit. And it actually racked up nearly 70,000 views in 12 hours, and then the mods actually removed it. It was on track for hundreds of thousands of views before the mods removed it, and I'm not really sure why they did it, but this video is posted here on Reddit, it's posted on Twitter, and it's posted on my channel, so definitely check it out. There's gonna be a link popping up on the top of the screen right over there. Definitely click it, check it out. It is a very entertaining video. So first of all, I'm looking at Bitcoin on the 3-day chart, and this is the chart from the beginning of the year until where we are now. And on the right side, you can see the volume profile tool. And what you'll notice first about the volume profile is that there's almost nothing there stopping us, right? All we see are these three peaks at 60 to 65,000, and that constitutes for really not all that much volume. So if Bitcoin does get a solid breakout above 60,000, we would very likely see a new all-time high very, very soon. And not to mention the chart setup is looking really good. We have a nice base of support at that 30,000 range, another macro higher low, and also we can see higher highs on the chart. This is all indicative of a bull market. So the point is that the volume profile tool is showing that we do not have much resistance above us, and it's very likely we're going to see a new all-time high in the near future. I posted on Twitter today this chart. I said it's one of the most exciting charts in crypto right now. Bitcoin is gearing up for the final mania phase. If you're taking a look at this chart, what it is Bitcoin's performance since the last market cycle top. Now this image is zoomed in into this current state of the cycle, and this image begins over here in August of 2020. We can see that the orange line is 2017, this line here, and the purple line is 2021, our current bull cycle. This chart begins in August 2020 and of course goes into where we are now. The 2021 cycle actually started off ahead of 2017 until we found that 65K peak, and now we're sort of lagging behind it by just a hair. And what's exciting, we were just looking at the volume profile tool, how there's really not much resistance here. What's exciting is that if we do get above that 65K peak, or when we do, it's very likely that we will. Once we do, we're going to be looking for the last 100 days basically for a final mania phase. And it could happen just as fast as it happened here in 2017. It may not be exactly the same, but I would expect some major parabolic moves moving forward once we do get above that 65K peak. So looking at the 2017 chart, right, the orange line here, from this point in the cycle to the peak point of the cycle, how many days was that? Let's take a look. Now, looking at the chart from this low right here to the peak of the bull market, it took roughly 80 to 90 days. We'll just say 80 to 100 days from that low point. Now, going back to this market cycle chart, once we get above that 65K peak, if Bitcoin did play out a parabolic run that took roughly 80 to 100 days, giving Bitcoin a little bit of wiggle room here, we could see that that would basically land us, roughly in the first 1 to 2 months of 2022. So about end of January to beginning of February is actually where this cycle could potentially look to top out. That's how fast these parabolic moves can take place in the crypto market. And now the question is, what is the price point? What is the target here for Bitcoin on the next all-time high break now that it's looking extremely likely? One thing I want to do is take a look at Bitcoin on the very long-term chart, looking at it from 2012 until where we are now. And I want to use the fib extension tool, the log scale fibs, and fib from the 2013 peak to the bear market low. And if you do that and then go to your fib settings and turn it onto log scale fib, what you'll notice is that Bitcoin landed almost perfectly right here at the 2618. So the 2618 was the peak price target for Bitcoin using the log scale fibs. So we could do the same thing, extrapolate this and do basically the same thing and take our fibs from our bull market peak, the 20K peak, to the $3,800 low, or $3,100 low, I should say. And what you'll notice is that Bitcoin is already respecting these fibs. This 1618 fib target, this blue line, Bitcoin has used it as resistance at 65,000. These fib targets are already being respected on this bull run. So if Bitcoin was going to play out the same type of run where we would test up to the 2618 for the end of the bull market peak, surprisingly, the target becomes 350,000 US dollars. And I know that does sound crazy, right? That sounds much higher than what a lot of people say. A lot of people are saying, 150K, 200K, but this fib extrapolation actually suggests 350,000 US dollars as the peak price for Bitcoin. Once again, the 2618 fib target is at about 350,000. And the thing that I find most interesting about this fib target is if you go to the stock to flow model and you take a look at where the parameters land, and you take a look at the long-term chart, what happened over here in 2017 was that Bitcoin actually exceeded this top band by just a small margin. You see how we came up above it? Looking at the top band, where does the top band come in for the current cycle? It comes in at 300,000. So if Bitcoin did play out something like that, where we came up and actually pumped above the top band for the final couple weeks, we would actually land where? Just above 300,000, about 350,000, right? And that is landing us exactly at that 2618 fib target at about 350,000. So this is actually even surprising me, but it does show that there is this potential for us to actually extend through these log scale fib targets all the way up to the 2618, just like we did here in 2017. And considering the global market environment, inflation, all the prices rising, asset prices, consumer prices, it's actually not that crazy to think that a $300,000 or $350,000 Bitcoin is possible. It really is possible. And some more fundamental things to back up this up. We have reports that over 85% of circulating Bitcoin has not moved in the past 3 months or more. Bitcoin hodlers are refusing to sell. If we scroll down, there's a couple charts on this article by BETTOGH, and this is the interesting one to me, the long-term holder supply to issuance ratio. We have at the top here, the blue line on the chart, right? This blue line that goes through the chart is the long-term hodler supply, right? So the long-term hodler supply is that blue line on the chart. The orange line is the circulating supply, and the red or pink line is the long-term holders to issuance ratio. Now, taking a look at the blue, the long-term holders supply has actually just hit an all-time high. That is an all-time high. We've never seen the long-term holder supply be this high. This is actually a new all-time high for the long-term holders supply, the blue line. And also the long-term holders issuance ratio is also pumping up to a new all-time high. So what does this all mean? Well, if you're looking at the red long-term holders issuance ratio, in 2015, 2016, 2017, this major parabolic uptrend, what you'll notice is that the long-term holders issuance ratio was actually on a lower low, lower high trend. So as the prices were gaining, as Bitcoin was going up in price, the long-term holders issuance ratio was going down. Long-term holders were selling into the pump, right? That's usually how this works. And then as Bitcoin came down off the 20K peak, long-term holders were buying again, right? So they were kind of accumulating for the most part. And over here, in the more recent times, as Bitcoin went parabolic up to 65,000, the long-term holders were selling, and now they're buying. Right now we're seeing this nice uptrend for Bitcoin, a nice macro uptrend, and long-term holders are still buying. Now, contrary to what you might think, what we actually want to see is a decrease in the long-term holders issuance ratio after we break the all-time high. So if Bitcoin does pump up above the all-time high, we want to see the long-term holders selling into the pump. And that sort of indicates that we're going to be going parabolic, but yes, there is limited time, but that's where all the money is truly made. So fundamentally, guys, Bitcoin holders are really confident right now, and it's looking very strong. And also another article here from newsbtc.com, Bitcoin short-term supply reaches an all-time low. Now looking at this right here, the Bitcoin short-term supply, coins spent in the last 3 months, is now at an all-time low, lower than 2015. That low right there, this right here is 2015, and Bitcoin has just hit an all-time low. So holders are extremely confident in a new all-time high. So all of these charts, Bitcoin being on track with 2017, the volume profile tool showing really no resistance above us, the log scale Fibonacci fractal that sends us up to the 2618, suggesting that Bitcoin could actually go as high as 350,000 on this run, which lines up with the stock to flow model. And last but not least, the total crypto market cap is nearing an all-time high break. We have, really solid upward sloping trend, a really nice macro upward sloping trend line, and also we have a flat line of resistance. So this indicates an increase of buying interest for the overall crypto market. This is the total crypto market cap, and a flat line of selling interest. This is an ascending triangle, and this usually statistically breaks out to the upside. So another thing we can do is look for the targets on this one. And if we go from high to low, what is the upside target? The upside target here actually suggests possibly as much as 7 trillion, that the crypto market cap could see $7 trillion at the end of this parabolic run before entering the bear market and possibly returning to the current levels, right? This is the true bubble zone, right? We're basically about to enter the bubble zone where if you don't cash out, well, you're probably going to be sitting on really no gains, right? So the bubble zone is upon us. The final mania phase, I believe, is upon us now. Once we get an all-time high break of 65, I think it's off to the races. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, also follow me on Twitter. I make all kinds of posts. And if you haven't seen the El Salvador Saves Bitcoin movie that I made on this channel, a link is popping up on the top of the screen right now. It's a really fun one. Definitely check it out. It's a very entertaining video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.